Hey, all day, you know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Win or lose, we bringing it to you always. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Orange or black, we rebuild the pack. No matter where we at, you know we coming back. Section 336, we on this, so tune in. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Yeah, welcome to Birdland. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Now, here come the boys from Section 336.
Boys and girls, Baltimore sports fans of all ages, welcome to Section 336, Next Generation Baltimore Sports Talk. I am your enduring host, Matt Soroka. Josh, what are you laughing at?
Because I've been bugging you about the long pause you give before the intro, and here you started your intro before the video even finishes.
Okay, so you think I should pause longer before I should start the
intro? Just a beat, because if not, when that video, no one hears your first couple words because they only hear the video. Your mic doesn't turn on until the video's done. I
think they know what I'm going to say anyway.
They do. We all do. It hasn't changed in 12 years. 10 years. How long have we been doing this? I don't remember. 11 years.
Yeah. I don't know, but this is going to be the first year that we've done it when the Orioles go to the World Series. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. I mentioned that earlier today on the show. I thought it would be cool if we did this on a 10 o'clock start because we're all used to the West Coast late night baseball after the past week.
Yeah. How has West Coast baseball been for you, Josh?
I love West Coast baseball.
The Orioles apparently love it too because they're really successful.
Yes.
West Coast trip.
Yeah, except for that early Saturday game.
Yeah, one blip.
A little blip. And that was who wants to play at 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
Oh, is that your thought? It's just a 1 o'clock time of thing?
Yeah. We have trouble at daytime.
Okay.
We like because our bats come alive after dark.
Yeah. Dongs at dark. Yeah, dongs for dark. Yeah, I mean, I saw people talking about this, and I saw Twitter was trying to, just whatever, you have a bad day.
Oh,
I did see
one bad day and they want to blow it all up.
Well, no. I thought they were really calm, and then I saw a good friend on Facebook was like, "Oh, this is a disaster."
Yes. And they want to fire Brandon Hyde.
Yeah.
Every time the Orioles have a big loss, fire Brandon Hyde.
Oh, no, he's not Aaron Boone. That's if you want to talk about a manager that's in danger of getting fired.
No. But I'm saying that's what the Facebook pages go to.
Yeah. And but I would argue, Josh, I'm more on the Facebook side of this than the rational side.
Oh, really? You're concerned.
Yeah, I think that loss was very concerning. Only because
you don't think it was
loss.
I saw it as that one loss was a big explanation point to say, Elias, just whatever it takes to get us a starter.
Right, because this is what we've been talking on here for the past couple of weeks since all these injuries have happened. What's our weakness? And our weakness is that we could be relying on Povich and Suarez and Irvin to bring this to the finish line. And that makes me uncomfortable. And we saw both Irvin and Povich blow up in that game.
Yeah.
And we saw that we were exposed for a lack of bullpen depth in that game too. Now you look up at our bullpen ERA, partly because of that game, but partly because of other stuff. And now we're ranked 12th or 13th in all of baseball in ERA.
Right, where we were in the top.
In relief ERA, and we were near the top. So I think, one loss doesn't matter. And overall, it was a great West Coast trip. And and we can get to some of the Fangraph stuff. But when we talked last week, we were a 30% chance to win the division. Yankees were 60%. Now that's completely swapped.
Yeah, we are
60 and they're
we are 3 games up on the Yankees.
Yeah.
And the Red Sox are even gaining on the Yankees at this point.
Yeah, the Red Sox are playing great ball.
Red Sox want to make that wild card push.
Yeah. And all that to say, I think the Orioles are going to be fine, obviously.
Yeah, I agree. You freeze on that? Or do you not think the Orioles are going to be fine? I guess you froze. Lost your internet. But yeah, I've got plenty of faith on the Orioles. They're fine. There you are. You froze for a little bit.
I think you froze, but let's not get into who froze.
Sure.
Who froze, I froze.
All right, blurry face.
I kept on talking. But no, I think if you're relying on Povich and Suarez and Irvin, maybe it'll all turn out great. But those are all guys who don't have track records of being successful in the major leagues.
Correct.
And the second point I want to make about it is I just keep on thinking about we're halfway through the season, a little over halfway, but All-Star break kind of marks like kind of the halfway point of the season. And we've already lost so many starting pitchers.
It can't get worse, can it?
Well, what happens if we lose one more or two more? I mean, Suarez is 35 or whatever, how old is he? 34. I always want to add numbers to his age. But and Kramer's coming back from injury, and we've seen arm injuries everywhere. There's literally no one left. I mean, the next guy up would be Chase McDermott, and he's not ready. I think his last start, he pitched 1 inning.
Yeah.
We have serious problems if anyone else gets hurt, and I'm not 100% confident in the guys we have right now. So
no, Elias has to bring someone in.
Yeah, so I didn't even start on a downer with the 19 because overall it was a great road trip, and we're sitting pretty. And Suarez has pitched great, been very impressive.
Yes.
And hopefully it's just a blip with Povich, and he's back to his winning ways his next start. I mean, Grayson Rodriguez is up to 11 wins. That's insane.
Yeah. Surprised he didn't get any thoughts for the All-Star game, and I'm sure we'll get to that.
Yeah, I mean, you could be surprised
about multiple people,
about a lot of people. I mean, and I thought Steve Molesky had a good tweeting out all the numbers of the great teams and how many players they get. Right, the Guardians, the Dodgers, Phillies, and then they all got a bunch of players. Yeah, and the Orioles just got 3.
Yeah, did you think they forgot that Peter Angelos no longer owns this team? Because that's the Oriole treatment we're used to, where we get ignored.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, even when we talked about last week about the Fangraphs, their mathematical model and where they had the Orioles in terms of percentage to win the division, we thought, well, that's bonkers. And we talked about it all last year, how they didn't credit us in those mathematical formula, and we thought it was bonkers.
Yep.
And so this is, if you want to create a narrative, and I think Baltimoreans like to create a narrative that they're not being given enough credit. And I buy into this, right? Selective bias here, but I buy into it too, that we're not getting enough credit. And this is just yet another example of the Orioles being one of the best teams in baseball, arguably the best team in baseball, and leading all of the league in home runs, and you only get 3 representatives in the All-Star game.
All right, so let's talk All-Star game.
Yeah.
So it's Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, and Corbin Burns.
Yeah, Gunnar and Adley. I don't know how all this works, Josh, because there's fan voting and player voting and
I think fan voting
MLB
is
picks.
your starters. I think fan voting is your starters
for position players.
Yeah,
and then we got Corbin Burns was voted in by players or something. I don't know how all this works.
Yeah, I think that might be players,
and then MLB makes sure that every team has a guy.
Correct.
And they'll add some stuff, and this is why. By the way, too, talking about selection, some of the drama was caused because Major League Baseball picked Clay Holmes from the Yankees, who already had representation in the All-Star game, multiple guys, over Craig Kimbrell. So that was the big head scratcher because Craig Kimbrell in every category has better numbers.
And then that had to be a favoritism of the Yankees.
Yeah,
it's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's not a Ty Wigginton moment where you need someone from that team.
Right, which I would understand if that's the deal, yeah.
Correct. And I believe on that home run list, I believe everyone on like the top 20 home runs got accepted except for Anthony Santander, something like that, or in the top 12 people.
Yeah, and I have to look this up, but I think Jordan Westberg was 12th or 13th in overall WAR in the American League. So it seems like you're the 12th or 13th best guy in the league. You should an invite.
So Grayson got screwed. Kimbrell got screwed. Westberg got screwed. Santander got screwed.
Yeah. And the interesting thing, guys like Mountcastle, wasn't he second in the voting? Like, he was really close in the voting.
Yeah.
You can make a case for O'Hearn as well.
You could. All right. So that's 6 guys. So you're saying we should have had 9 guys. And I know you'll never get 9 guys into the All-Star game because of how they have to balance it out with other teams. But for the Orioles to have one of the best records in baseball and to be full of young future like stars in this game, it is very disappointing that Major League Baseball did not pick Grayson, Westberg, and Mountcastle as future representatives. Kimbrel's been there, so it's a shame. O'Hearn's older, and it's a shame. But to not these young guys, this is for years we've talked about how Major League Baseball cannot get out of their own way on marketing their game. And these young birds are the guys that you want out there for people to get excited and the names you want people to know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's, So I think Westy would be the big one for that.
Yes.
And I know he doesn't have quite have the name recognition now as some of these other guys. But yeah, that was disappointing. But on the other hand, Josh, on the other hand,
who cares?
Yeah, I think this is actually, I would say somewhere along the line between who cares to this is really a good thing.
Yeah. Yes. Get rest.
Yeah, because
in
Kimbrel, specifically Kimbrel's case, the guy's old. He was overworked a little bit. I think that's what led to some of the struggles against the A's and Nats. He was overworked. He also tweaked his back during that time. So he could use the rest. That's good. He's been pitching a lot lately too. So Kimbrel, good to get the rest. And then for those other guys, I mean, I think it's A, the rest is fine. It's good. But B, this contributes to a narrative that I love, that we aren't respected enough.
Yes.
No one puts respect on our name.
It's bulletin board material, as they say.
Yeah. No one who said what did Brendan Hyde say at the end of last season? No, everyone count us out. No one had us here.
Yep.
No one had us when they at least.
Yep. So
it's that type of mentality. Yeah. This is, I think, definitely could fuel the locker room to talk about the lack of respect that this team is getting. Right. So that could be seen as a good thing too.
Correct.
Yeah.
Part of the All-Star festivities is we also have the Home Run Derby. Is Gunnar the favorite going into the Home Run Derby?
I assume Pete Alonso is always the favorite. I don't even know who. We got Pete Alonso and Gunnar.
Pete Alonso.
Alec Boehm, right? Who else?
Alec Boehm. Bobby Witt Jr.
Oh, Bobby Witt Jr.'s in it?
Yeah. And
that's good.
Marcelo Ozuna.
Okay,
from the
Braves. Yeah.
So those are the 5 I see as confirmed.
Okay.
I assume there's one more. Is there 6 or 8?
I thought there was 8.
Yeah, there's 8. So I guess we're going to find out 3 more.
Okay.
But right now we know of 5.
Yeah, the Bob Witt Jr. That's a good pick. Alec Boehm, I don't really understand that one at all.
It is when you look at the home run stand-ins. Gunnar has 27, Ozuna has 23, Alonso has 18, Witt Jr. has 15, and Boehm has 11.
Yeah, I don't understand the Boehm thing. I don't know much about Alec Boehm. I get the Bob Witt Jr. because he's a young star.
Is there no one from Texas? There's got to be someone from Texas joining,
You're right? Someone from Texas will be there. Probably Adolis Garcia, I would imagine. He'd probably be a good pick from Texas. He always crushes balls against the Orioles.
Surprised that's not the first announcement.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I assume Pete Alonso with his reputation is the favorite. But Gunnar, I think he has a good shot as anybody.
Is there any chance they bring Adley back?
To do some more switch hitting home runs?
To do some more switch hitting home runs. And how fun would it be to see Gunnar and Adley head to head?
Yeah. I mean, I like the Bobby Witt Jr. and Gunnar head to head. That's a fun matchup.
That's a fun one too.
Because that's the 2 top young shortstops in baseball. You also have the rivalry there between Adley Rutschman being the number 1 overall pick,
right?
And Bobby Witt being the number 2 overall pick.
And I like that with Gunnar going, we're going to see Adley on the sideline, pumping him up.
Yeah, providing some mentorship as a guy who's done it before.
Right. I like that. And that's where I wish some of the younger guys like Westberg and all were there to help celebrate that.
Yeah,
and some sideline cheering.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still I just remember, and they changed the rules a little bit, which I think would have been advantageous to, if I remember this correctly, it would have been advantageous to Adley going the next round. But
yes, because you don't get knocked out in early rounds.
Right. It's overall.
Yes.
Not just the head-to-head.
And
so you don't get screwed over.
And it's a number of swings instead of times or number of pitches or something.
Oh, really? Is that different?
The clock is different this year.
Okay.
Which again would help, you would think.
MLB loves messing with the pitch clock.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't cause a bunch of injuries to the pitchers. To the guys throwing the home run derby pitchers. But I remember watching last year's home run derby.
Is it Brock for Gunnar?
I thought it was Britton.
Britton, that's what I mean. Sorry. I was thinking Brad Brock. I meant Britton.
Yeah. Buck Britton, though, not Zach Britton.
Yeah, Buck Britton.
Because Zach Britton, we throwing that sinker and pounding it into the ground. We don't want that. So we got Buck
the
Britton
first round will not be a head-to-head bracket.
Right.
The top four first-round scores advance to the semifinal bracket.
Yeah,
and
I like that.
Hitters will see a maximum of 40 pitches in each timed round, placing more of an emphasis on efficiency.
So it's still timed, but they cut it off at that pitch count.
40 pitches.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But no, I remember watching last year and being completely blown away by Adley's power because you don't really see Adley, and he's had more home runs this year. But I mean, I saw him more as a walk guy, get on base guy. Maybe this guy can hit 25 home runs, but not an elite power hitter. But he looked. I mean, if he wants to do the home run swing, he can turn himself into elite power hitter. And yeah, how impressive. I think this is a home run derby. It's great for Gunnar to be there and be invited, which is really cool, but it's also kind of representative of just an incredible year that he's had. I mean, last year, how many home runs did he have last year? I mean, he has 27 this year? Last year, he had 28.
Right, for the whole season?
Yeah, the whole season. He's already one home run away from what he had all of last season.
No,
so the fact that Gunnar has turned into this elite home run power hitter has been quite the pleasant surprise.
Yeah, and he is projected. He's got a good path to MVP. I know people say Judge, but Gunnar, this young 23-year-old kid, won Rookie of the Year last year, and now he's got a clear path to MVP. This is the guy that baseball wants out there. Of course he's in the home run derby. This is where I talk about baseball getting things wrong. This is the biggest thing they got right.
Yeah, and I can't wait for the end of the season, Josh, when Gunnar
Judge wins it.
Gunner's going to have lead all of baseball in B-WAR and F-WAR and play an elite shortstop, maybe win a Gold Glove even, and he's one of the best base runners on the baseball, and offensively he's going to keep on doing it, and then they're going to give the MVP to Aaron Judge. I'm looking forward to that. That New York bias is going to come through again at the end with MVP, so I think it's done. I think Aaron Judge is going to get it, even though I think Santander would have the best case for it. But Gunnar will win it next year then, because Aaron Judge is getting older and Ohtani is not here anymore. So, I mean, Gunnar Henderson is going to be the favorite next year.
Ohtani did turn down the home run derby.
Ohtani turned down. And I assume they asked Aaron Judge. And
Judge was very clear like weeks ago saying he wouldn't do it. Because Judge had a problem years ago where then he sucked after it and they blamed the home run derby. Yeah,
there is some. Does that concern you, Josh? There's some talk that it could ruin your swing.
No. Sure. Just as much as the Madden curse, I still want my guys on the cover.
Yeah.
I don't buy that.
Is there anyone else that you're like holding your breath to hope that they get in there? Maybe a former Oriole, like a Christian Walker, who's having a great year.
Christian Walker would be an interesting one. I don't know. Let's see.
I would like. I mean, a former guy. Did he win it when it was at the National Stadium? Yeah, he did. Bryce Harper. I would like to see Bryce Harper, and I like Bryce Harper.
Yeah, I'd like
get some old blood and some young stars.
Now that Bryce Harper's a Philly, we've talked about this before. I like Bryce Harper.
Yeah,
I'm all for that. So I'd be fine with that. I was just looking at the home run leaderboard to try to see. Yeah, Garcia's the leading Ranger with 16. Oh no, Seager's got 17. Yeah. So it could be Seager. Seager would be a big name to be up there.
Yeah, it could be him.
No, I would love to see another Oriole, whether it's Santander or Rutschman, get in there, but I don't know if they ever do two from the same team.
Yeah, I don't know if they do.
I don't think they do, but I also don't know how often you have as many players with as many home runs as the Orioles have.
No, it's true. Like we are
like we
far
got,
and away leading the league in home runs.
Yeah, we got 3 guys in the top 25. And then even once you get past that, if you go probably top 50, we've got probably 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. And we're still a week away. Next week's the home run derby. Next week's the All-Star game. So we still got real baseball this week. And I don't know. It seemed like the fan base was kind of like, okay, the West Coast trip is done. Now we relax. And we got the Cubs and the Yankees to wrap up the first half of the season.
Yeah, this to me. Oh, by the way, Josh, if the Orioles had a home run derby, just Orioles players only,
that would be so much fun.
Who would? And you're a betting man. Who do you think would be the betting favorite?
Oh,
would it be Gunnar Henderson or be Adley, who's done it before? Right. Who would be the betting favorite to win?
Where are we hosting this? Where are we hosting this? Is it in Camden Yards?
Let's say it's at a more neutral stadium.
You want a neutral stadium? Yeah. All right, so let's go in a bandbox. Let's go to New York.
Okay, but New York is weird with that, with the left field pole.
All right, you're right.
Let's do a more traditional. All right, let's do a generic field.
All right, Tampa.
All lefties and righties have
Tampa. There's no wind and there's nothing special.
Yeah, you got some Rays that could be hurt in this. That's it.
I would Are you having it in the month of June? Because the way Anthony Santander is hitting the ball, he might be my pick for favorite. I mean, it's hard not to say Gunnar, but Anthony, I think, might be a solid pick as well.
Yeah, I saw an interesting graph of Santander's home runs, and so many of them come on bad pitches out of the zone. So Santander might actually struggle with pitches right down the middle. Right. And this is not again.
Well, he gets when you do a home run derby, you get to work with your pitcher, so he could tell them, "Hey, throw him high and outside."
Yeah. No, I would if I was a betting man, I would bet. I want to bet on Gunnar or Santander or Adley. I think someone else.
Mountcastle.
Not Mountcastle.
Mountcastle. If you're going distance, I might put money on Mountcastle.
Yeah, but again, we're not talking about pitch selection. We're just talking about straight bat and practice.
I got you.
Who can hit the hardest, the farthest, the most.
Who are you going with?
The answer is Heston Kjerstad.
Oh, Kjerstad. I always forget about Kjerstad. Kjerstad is now he had a bomb in Oakland.
Yes.
Dead center. Yes. I mean, Kjerstad.
And he had another bomb, which a guy just dropped.
Right. Yeah. Kjerstad with more playing time could be next year one of these 27 home run guys at this time.
Yep. No, he's having, he went back down the minors because he was struggling and he couldn't get enough playing time. And since getting called back up, he's got the 3 home runs. He also has a couple of doubles on top of that. And he's batting 295, on base of 392. No one has no on base. Gunnar's at 384. The only person's above him, looking at the stats right now, the only person that's a better on base percentage than Heston Kjerstad is Ryan McKenna. He's in Ryan McKenna territory there. So, yeah, Heston Kjerstad's been great, and there's no reason why this dude shouldn't be playing every day because he's that freaking good. And I think that's just the tip of the iceberg for Heston, so I'm pumped, and I hope he can keep it up.
Yeah, of course. I hope so.
Yeah, but you mentioned the schedule. I want to talk about that briefly too, Josh. This, to me, is outside of when you get to September and you're watching the standings and you get these playoff races and stuff at the end of September. This, to me, is the most exciting time of the season because there's so many teams every year who on July 8th, they don't know if they're buyers or sellers.
Oh, we're buyers. We've known we're buyers since June 1st.
Yeah, but I'm saying, Josh, there's so many teams who don't know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. It makes it tough for us to know where to go buy them from, who's selling.
Yeah. And I'm just saying as a baseball fan.
Yes.
And we're playing some of these teams who are trying to decide where they're at. And so for me, it just makes it, I just think I love this time of year. You just look kind of a microcosm of this, which is fascinating to me. It's just the AL East, because you would assume at this point the Orioles will be buyers. You will assume the Yankees will be buyers, which I love that they're struggling, and I hope they panic, and I hope they buy a bunch of stuff and rip up their farm system. I'm rooting for that. And then Boston, I think everyone thought they would be sellers in this situation.
Right.
But now they're
in a wild card slot. Yeah.
Yeah, but Josh, it's July 8th.
Yeah.
If they start slumping and they're at 500 by the end of July, I think they could turn back into sellers.
They could turn back into sellers. I haven't looked at their schedule, but the way they're playing right now, and the fact that they just played really well against the Yankees.
Well, and they play Oakland next, so they might continue.
Exactly. So that could continue to help them and give them hope to stay and get in that wild card and build on that for the next year.
And be buyers. And then the Tampa Bay Rays, who seem to always hang around. I mean, they're 44 and 46. They're just 2 games under 500. So it's not like they're completely out of it. Right. They're 5 games out of the wild card spot. So you could argue that, this next 2 weeks or 3 weeks could determine which way they want to go as in buyers or sellers. And then the Toronto Blue Jays are fascinating because, I mean, they got a couple big dogs in, Vlad Guerrero that they could part with if they want to kind of completely blow this up. And so will Toronto Blue Jays completely blow it up, or will they try to re-sign Vlad and keep this thing together, even though it really hasn't worked out at all? So it's really interesting, right? And there's a whole bunch of other teams, the Royals, the Rangers, the Astros, who kind of need to decide where they're at.
Right.
And it's a little more clear-cut in the American League. The National League is a little bit kind of more insane because there's only, if you look at the National League, all but 2 teams are within 5.5 games of the wild card. All but 2 teams. The Marlins and the Rockies are way out of it. But every other team, like if the Cubs sweep us, all of a sudden they're just a couple games out of the wild card, and the Cubs could make a case for being in there. The Mets, everyone thought the Mets were done, but now the Mets could be in there. So it's just, I just love this time of this time of the year, and it makes it hard because for buyers like the Orioles are,
right.
I don't think they're going to be making any trades this week or next week because I think they have to figure out who's selling because there's so many teams that I think are still on the fence.
No, I 100% agree. And it's why when you look at it, there's so many options because I'm telling you, when you're on the fence, Mike Elias can sway you one way or the other with what he's calling and offering. If you're on the fence and Mike Elias is offering you some of our B squad, our B future, which is A+ future for you, that can sway you one direction.
Yeah. And I think after the All-Star break, if you look at our schedule, we play the Rangers, and I just heard the Rangers are going to be offering up pretty much all their pitchers. How would you like to have Max Scherzer, Josh? Is that someone that could interest you in? A Max Scherzer?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Have you ever heard me say how much I want Max Scherzer on the Orioles? I've said it a few times.
I would have preferred Max Scherzer 3 years ago or 4 years ago, but I'll still take him.
Right.
And then we played the Marlins after the Rangers were a full sell mode. And then after that, we play the Padres, who I don't know. The Padres right now are in the final wild card spot, so I assume they'll be buyers. And they've always been really aggressive, so I would imagine they're going to try to go for it. But then after that, we play the Blue Jays, who presumably will be sellers as well to end July. So we could be getting some scouting reports, and we could be. I always root for a guy swapping benches. So you just walk to the other side of the bench
mid-game.
So if we can make a Max Scherzer trade while we're at Texas, I think that'd be cool.
That'd be great.
And yeah, it's nice for traveling too. We play at Texas after the All-Star break, so yes, Burns can just hang there.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, the Cubs have some pitchers. We could do it this week, and I'd be good.
Yeah, I see a lot of people throwing out trade, but I think it's kind of stupid now because there are a ton of teams who haven't decided. So let's see how the next week, 2 weeks go, and then I think we're going to have more serious conversations.
Yeah, there's too many names out there right now that would help us.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Next week's our All-Star break week. It's a good time to kind of reevaluate.
Yeah. I mean, I think the fact that the Rangers talked about that they would be interested in selling, and you can't help but look and see in terms of bullpen and starter help. Well, there's a bunch of guys on that team, like Nathan Eovaldi, and I mentioned Scherzer, and a bunch of guys effectively in the bullpen as well that could help this team. So something to watch.
Not to mention there's Tanner Scott down at getting his first All-Star game, former Oriole.
Yeah, well, that would not be a bad reunion.
A good option to come back.
Yeah, that would be good. I would be up for that reunion.
All right. So, what is there any besides the pitching? Is there anything else that concerns you about this team right now?
No, offensively, no, because listen, you can complain about maybe Arias or Mateo offensively, but I don't think it really matters. Um, if I had my druthers, I would like Norby or Mayo to be up here and getting those at
Yeah.
bats. I like Mateo, especially if so. And one of the ways to think about this too is, all right, I think we're going to make the playoffs. So then I think about it, okay, in the playoffs, because I was debating this too. If you could have one, Josh, an elite closer or an elite starter, what would you rather have? Now, you might immediately say, well, elite starter.
No. Give me the elite closer and get me a reasonable starter.
Right, because the closer could impact, 3, 4, 5 games in a series.
And the emotion when your closer blows it just hurts as a fan.
Yeah. So you would rather get an elite closer and get you another starter as opposed to get you an elite starter and just another bullpen arm.
Exactly. That's how I would go. Now, I think we definitely have the parts, depending on what Elias wants to pass on and give up, that we could bring in an elite closer and an elite starter. Right. We have enough. But
that would involve doing pretty significant damage to our farm system. Are you okay with that?
I am, because I think the farm system's there so that you have time to rebuild. I feel like next year our team is young now, and next year our team's going to be even younger. So I feel like our team is so young that gives us a 5-year window to rebuild the farm system.
Yeah, and if you were to trade
Norby or Mayo up here, you got Kirstead up here. I mean, at some point we need to take a look at what our team looks like next year, because I don't know how, when we roll into next year, it's difficult for me to see Mullins, Hayes, Santander, Urias, O'Hearn. Like, all these older guys are really hard for me to see because our farm system is just banging on that door at every single position.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you could argue that if you trade Norby, you lose nothing because Holiday and Mayo are there.
Right.
But then you could say you got Holiday and Mayo.
I know.
But then you also have Westberg. So there's like 3 guys for 2 spots.
Right. So that means you're putting in 2 guys plus a bench player right there.
Right. And it's not like Westberg and Holiday are on the final years of their deal. Like, they're going to be here for a long, long time.
And neither one of them are guys. Gunner. And neither one of those are platoon guys.
Right.
So you got Westberg locked in. You lock in Holiday at second. Then you put Norby at DH.
Yeah, no, I think he becomes a platoon guy at left field, second base, where you need him.
Left field, DH, but then you have to go into your outfield. And you got Kirstead and Kalzer and Mayo.
Yeah.
Like, how do you then fit all these guys in that I think even Mountcastle has some question marks. I don't like to look at that. I think I would love Mountcastle to be a huge part of the future. But when you look at this team and everyone banging on the door to get up here.
Yeah, well, I mean, you see Mountcastle even move down the lineup lately and, behind Kirstead.
Right.
And Westberg. And I think that's kind of, it tells you a lot. So I do like this Mountcastle or Hearn thing we got rocking. I want to ride.
I do. I like that. I do like that. But I don't. Hearn's not going to be here next year. It'll be a Mountcastle Adley shuffle at first, you would think.
Really? Why would Hearn be here?
I don't see how Hearn can be on this team, just like I don't see how Mullins and Hayes can be on this team.
Santander's contract runs out at the end of the season as well.
But that's the one that you might re-sign. That's the one you might extend for 2-3 years. You're not going to extend Mullins. You're not going to extend Hayes. So you're making room for these young guys. Santander is showing he's valuable to have around.
Yeah. The other thing, Josh, I don't know how this impacts things, but presumably it does have an impact that as of this year, you have an owner that would be willing to spend money on free agency.
Yeah, let's make things even more complicated.
Yeah, and so I'm just saying, if you wanted to trade away guys and you're worried about depth,
you can buy a bat.
Yeah, you have presumably money to go out and get somebody.
It's a really weird place to be in as an organization right now, where everything's possible.
Yeah. However, Elias likes his prospects, and whoever you get for Mayo, I think the long-term return for Mayo will be greater than 1 to 2 years of whoever you're getting. And so I'm less comfortable trading a guy that you think is going to be all-star, like a Westberg level, borderline all-star, if not all-star level for the next 7 years. That makes me uncomfortable to pull the trigger for a bullpen arm for a year or a bullpen arm for a year.
I agree with that. And I think, you get the only way you trade one of those guys is for a young arm. If
some use control, sure.
Yeah. If the Pirates want to get rid of what's their guy? Scobe?
Skeens. But even like Mason Miller, right? Who's for
another
the
young arm.
A bullpen.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he might be a little more realistic.
Right. But I think you're right. I think that's part of Elias's thing is when we look at how all these guys could come up and be major league ready. If not, they could be major league ready now if we had slots for them. But they're major league on this major league team next year. I think that makes Elias a little gun shy about trading those guys unless it's something that's going to also be here for multiple years and really help this team down the road.
Yeah.
But I do think it's part of what we've talked about for years that suddenly our B-level talent is A-plus level talent for other teams.
Yeah. No, I again, tomorrow, Norby, Mayo, Kerstadt
could start anywhere.
All these guys would be everyday players on a whole bunch of teams. Yeah.
Correct. Which means the guys behind them, ideally, are also talented enough that they're not major league ready, but you trade them to the Marlins and suddenly they're ready next year. Or they're banging on the door and moving into the Marlins. They're going from number 20 on our top prospects to number 4 on the Marlins top prospects list.
Sure. But I also think the danger is that Oriole fans can think, because we have so many top prospects right now, that a Mayo or a Holiday could just be replicated.
Correct.
And you don't replicate them.
Right. There's also concern that one of these guys is a bust.
Yeah, it's very likely that they don't all hit. That Norby, Holiday, Mayo.
The fact that we have hit,
they don't all hit.
Right, we've hit with Adley, Gunnar, and Westberg. It appears.
Yes,
that's huge, and that turned this team around.
Yeah, and if you want to throw Grayson Rodriguez in there too,
that's true. But Grayson as well. Yeah,
older.
But that doesn't mean they are all going to hit like that. It doesn't mean every prospect is now going to be a star and a Rookie of the Year contender. And I think even Cowser, the fan base has fallen in love with Cowser because he came in so hot, and then they love the mooch here. Cowser is still a question mark to me about if he can hold it together and be a star, an everyday starter. I hope he is, but I'm not there yet to lock him up for next year and say you can't trade him. I think
I agree.
He might be a good. He might be a good. Yeah, because the Kerstead.
Like, who's going to have a better career, Kerstead or Cowser?
I think Kersted's got more power. Yeah, but it's a toss-up right now between the two of them.
Yeah,
could be either one.
It's a silly game. You don't know.
No,
and Elias doesn't know. And now Elias might have a guess.
Yeah,
but he might have stats that support his guess.
Right, but I think Elias.
You don't know.
I think Elias might be more open to trading one of those two over a guy like Kobe Mayo. Because who's got the bigger upside? And it's a balance of trading known talent and guys that have proven something at the major league versus people who have a huge upside. I don't know. We like to think it's easy for Elias at this point because he's got so much talent. But this is a really hard decision for him to make because no one knows the future.
Yeah. And sometimes actually Oriole fans like you, Josh, might prefer to trade a Cowser over Mayo because when you see a guy every day in the major leagues, you see their flaws and you see their slumps. Correct. And when Mayo slumps, you don't see it because it's in Norfolk.
Right.
So I think sometimes we can be more prone to trade a major leaguer because we've seen their flaws.
And I think
we're okay with it.
The Corbin Burns trade this offseason is the perfect example of what the Orioles can do. Where DL Hall was a struggling pitcher with a good upside, and who's the shortstop we traded?
Joey Ortiz.
Joey Ortiz had upside potential, but we had no spot for him in the future, and we were able to bring in an ace. That's the type of moves the Orioles can make, and that's what Elias was probably looking to do again this trade deadline.
Yeah. But it also shows the danger, right? Like,
correct.
Joey Ortiz had a great year. He'd be second on our team on base percentage.
Right. You have to give something up.
Excellent year. He plays a great defensive, either third base or shortstop.
Yes.
And I know DL Hall's been on the injured list, but he still's got a ton of potential.
Would you have rather traded Westberg over Joey Ortiz?
Oh, zero chance now.
Correct. Would you have rather traded Holiday over
zero
Ortiz?
Chance.
Exactly.
No. So what about Norby?
And Norby and Gunnar are zero chances as well.
Well, I don't know about Norby. Norby and Ortiz to me would be a toss-up.
All right, fine. I'll give you that. But again, Norby hasn't been up to prove anything yet.
Right.
So it's part of that thing of we've got established guys. We knew this. He didn't have a slot. We have other guys where we might say, well, we're going to sign Santander long term. We're going to have Kirstead out there. And we've got Cowser. Suddenly, we don't have slots for all these outfielders. We're going to trade a guy that has a potential to have a good upside because we just can't fit him on this squad next year.
This year, Josh, I mean,
yes,
we're seeing struggles to get Kirstead, who we know is good.
Yes,
but he's the left-handed hitting outfielder, just like Cowser is.
Yes,
and so they play kind of the same position and bat the same way. And then you can't put him DH because O'Hearn's a left-handed hitting DH. And so this becomes problematic. And you play with the lineup some and you get him in there. But we're already seeing the struggle. And this is without Norby, Holiday, and Mayo. Who are ready this year and will definitely be ready next year. And we already can't get these guys plenty of time. So, yeah,
could we be buyers but also sell a guy like O'Hearn? You know, could we sell a guy who's having a great year just because we want to use that slot for something else?
Yeah,
for someone else.
This is the argument, not O'Hearn as much, but maybe a Santander.
Correct.
In the outfield.
Correct.
I think there's zero chance.
But I'm more and more.
And I think it'd be stupid. And that's zero chance.
But I keep leaning more and more on Santander getting extended and being a veteran leader on this team.
That would be shocking to me.
I know you're thinking he's gone this year,
right? And Heston takes his spot next year. That's kind of where I'm at.
Right. I understand, and I understand that argument as well. That makes sense too.
Yeah, but he's an elite power hitter.
Correct.
And he was last year.
And
this is not new to him. He's been a consistent elite power hitter, switch hitting power hitter. Yeah.
Right. So this is why it's so tough to be Mike Elias today.
Yeah, I mean, what I would like to do if I was playing MLB The Show, Josh. Doing the trade things.
You know what I got ticked about on MLB The Show today?
The trades are stupid, by the way, on MLB The Show.
Oh, yes. But I started playing Dynasty mode. Card Dynasty, where you get card packs and you get random
I've never
players.
done that. I've never done it before.
I started playing it. It's fun. I enjoy it.
Okay.
But I got beat today. Well, I didn't get beat, but a guy hit a bomb on me.
Okay.
And it was Connor Norby. And I got ticked that this guy had Connor Norby, and Connor Norby just completely crushed the ball off of me.
Yeah.
So what were you going to say about what you would do in the show?
Oh, I would trade. What if I was playing the show? What I would do is I would trade Norby for like an 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid, probably, right? Because to keep the prospect line.
But how's that going to help me this year?
It won't. But the reality
why are you doing it? You're just saying, I don't have room for Norby right now. Let me trade you, and I'll be ready for you in 5 years.
Yeah, because I want to get another good prospect in return.
Gotcha.
You're majorly ready, and I want to keep this prospect pipeline flowing. So I'm going to kind of kick the bucket down. So I'm going to get the same guy like Norby, but like a 3-year younger version of Norby.
So you're going, I don't have the draft list ahead of me. You're going to whoever has like draft number 1 or 2 this year, and you're going to them and being like, hey, look, guys, you're going to draft this kid. It's going to take him 3, 4, 5 years to develop. Yeah. I'll trade you Norby for, if you draft this kid, I'll trade you Norby for him. You'll have a guy ready next year.
Yeah.
You're ready
give me that high schooler you drafted last year.
Give me that high schooler. I like it. I like the move. I like the move.
Because it's the only way to get top talent right now. Because how else are you going to replenish this pipeline of players?
Right. We have to acknowledge that this pipeline of players came from us sucking for a long, long time.
Yeah, it did. I think this pipeline of and where we're on the prospect list is kind of a once in a lifetime thing. I don't think it's going to happen again.
I hope not.
I hope it doesn't happen
because I don't want to go back to
because we're rebuild mode. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, what we haven't seen yet, outside of Basayo, is presumably there's also this international pipeline that is just starting. So maybe we'll start to see some of that count as well.
Correct. Maybe. I was thinking the other day about all of our prospects and like, man, they're all white kids. They're all our top prospects.
We got a profile between you look at Gunnar, Heston. Yeah, this is not new. Adley.
No,
there's Gunnar, a profile
Preston, here. Adley, Kerstead, Holiday. They all look the same. And I don't know what Norby, Mayo look like, but it sounds like white kid names.
They're about the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Counter, Heston.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We know Kobe. We know what we're working with here.
Right.
Samuel Basayo stands out. Yeah, and Enrique Bradfield Jr. stands out. So there, take that, Josh. He was a first-round pick.
I think that might be a trade.
Okay, he's the guy traded.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. I think he could be. I think he's. I mean, he hasn't made it past Aberdeen. I mean, I think the Orioles could look at him and say, "You're too far away. We don't know if the power's going to develop."
Right. Right. We like your speed, but we don't know. Yeah.
Other teams hopefully love your speed and maybe get some value back from you. Yeah. I'm really. I don't know. And we'll get into trade talk more in the next couple of weeks when we know who exactly is out there. But, it's going to be interesting.
I can't wait.
Yeah. It's going to be fun last kind of few weeks before the trade deadline. Trade deadline is crazy in baseball. I love it. It's kind of – we'll see. Sometimes it disappoints and sometimes it blows our minds. We'll see. I'm curious to see what happens this trade deadline.
I hope it blows our mind. I really don't want to be disappointed.
Last year was a big. I mean, we were tied to like Justin Verlander. We thought, we're
that'd be great. I'll take it again.
We ended with Jack Flaherty, so that was an underwhelming trade deadline.
Have you been paying attention? I'll take Jack Flaherty again.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do it again.
I don't want to do that again. I know he's having a great year, but I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, I know. I'm just right. I don't think Elias would do it either. I think he'd be not going to burn me twice.
Yeah. Hey, Josh, I want to get to this story.
All right.
Does the name Katie Griggs mean anything to you?
Is she our first operations manager?
Yeah, business operations. So this is pretty cool. Of course, the leading line in every article is the first female president.
That's why I did not get my resume selected for this position.
Okay. I don't see gender, so
I applied. I've been an operations manager for years. I thought this was the perfect fit for me, but apparently I did not hit the right gender.
Yeah, but this, if you look at the resume, and I looked at the resume, a couple things. First of all, this is clearly not just a gender thing because she's freaking overqualified.
Yes,
and in fact, she held the same position
in Seattle.
Yes. So we stole her from Seattle. And I think anytime you can take someone,
this is to bring the All-Star game, right?
What's that?
It's to bring the All-Star game over.
Is that what part of this is?
I assume so. Didn't Seattle have it last year?
Yeah, I mean she has a lot in her purview she's in charge of.
Yeah,
All-Star game is probably one tiny portion of that, but no, she was like highly regarded, successful in Seattle, and she chose to leave there to come to us. I mean that has to say something about. And I mean we paid her more money. I don't know the details. But that has to say something good about your organization that people are leaving other good organizations. Like Seattle's not a dumpster fire. It's not Miami Marlins. It's not Oakland Athletics. It's a good organization. And she's leaving there to come to us. So It seems like, I don't know anything about her. The Katie is spelled with a C. That's a little weird to me, but I mean, it just seems like a cool thing that we can hire someone and she would leave there and come to us. It seems like a pretty cool thing.
That's always a good thing. Is she coming to us because she has an interest in concerts?
I don't think so.
Is it about concert promotions, or have we moved past that? I noticed we did not have a Birdland Summer Series.
Yeah. Oh, I did.
Country Stars this year.
I will say this to your All-Star line. I have the article put up by Steve Molesky, and a paragraph on there says, Griggs managed all aspects of the Mariners' business operations, including investments to improve technology, operations, and fan experience at T-Mobile Park.
All right, we need all that. We need all that at Camden Yards. Fan experience and technology we need. And we just got all that money from the state, put it all into that.
Yeah, it seems like now it's kind of a time of transition, right, at Camden Yards that she could have a lot to say about.
And yeah.
In addition, here's this sentence. So, in addition, she led the way as T-Mobile Park became the first venue to host both Major League Baseball's All-Star Week and National Hockey League's Winter Classic within a calendar year.
All right, I don't care about the Winter Classic.
Yeah, but the fact is she is experienced at hosting big events is the point.
Correct.
Like the All-Star game.
Yep.
And presumably she's prepared to host a World Series.
Right, exactly. And that's why once I finish this Michael Mara Vegas show, I will be applying to the Orioles and say I also can run events.
Yeah. Her kind of start in sports. Before that, Seattle, she worked at Atlanta United. So a little Georgia connection here too. She was the chief business officer there.
All right. No, I like the move, and you're right. There is something special when you can get someone with experience at another team, successful experience at another team, to come over to what would be regarded as a challenge in Baltimore, where we definitely need it.
Yeah, and I think for her, what a cool opportunity for her to work in one of the kind of most highly regarded stadiums in all of baseball
and get it back to the top.
And by the way,
list.
we have all these millions of dollars and we want to make improvements. And look at you! You can have a chance to improve one of the greatest stadiums in baseball, and here's all this money to do it. I think it's a great opportunity for her too.
Now the question is, how will she take care of crime and
school
traffic and school times?
Kids in school.
And all the other excuses for why people don't come to games that suddenly have all gone away now that the Orioles are winning.
Only come to bobblehead nights.
Right.
How will she handle the long lines for the Pride jerseys?
Or was that what complaint? Or are you just assuming every
giveaway? I don't know what it was. Maybe the Hawaiian shirts are Pride. I think I've heard a lot of complaints. I've complained about getting there early and not getting a giveaway.
and I complain about the bathroom lines.
Oh yeah. And goodness
more
knows
urinals.
The concessions.
Yes.
I still feel like every time Josh, I've used the the what do you call it? The automated concessions or whatever. Probably half a dozen times.
Right.
I don't eat as much at the stadium as
you mean the self-checkout.
The self-checkout, yes.
Yeah.
Let me just say that in a complicated way. And I feel like they've gotten it wrong 2 or 3 of those times.
Oh, see, I haven't had any issues. The only time they got it wrong,
either overcharged or undercharged. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I've had good experience. The only time they got it wrong is when they said that Coke's free, just leave.
Oh yeah, but that's
whatever. That worked in
my
favor.
That was not a self-checkout issue. That was too self-checkout. Yeah. All right. Anyway, I just want to share that.
No, that's great news for the Orioles this week.
Josh, any thoughts? A couple of things I want to get to.
All right.
Any other thoughts on our last trip to the Oakland?
Yes, I'm irritated. I'm irritated that I did not mark it on my calendar because the Coliseum is such a historic ballpark. I am so mad at myself that I did not get out there, to the point that Friday night I was looking at flights to fly over Saturday morning.
Yeah, probably a little expensive.
Yeah, it was $700 each way.
Yeah, but
it's a dump.
It's
a dump. It's a dump. I know that.
Yeah,
but it's a dump that's been there forever.
And I think great fan base, storied franchise. Yeah.
Oh, and I think about, I hate that they're playing in Sacramento for 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. I hate that.
Is that really going to happen though?
Where else are they going? Yes, that's what they signed a deal to play in some minor league park.
I know that's what they said, and I know that
Vegas.
that's what they
I don't
plan for the next 3
understand
years.
if you're gone. I don't understand why
It's
they
like
could
nobody
not
wants them.
find some type of stadium, college, something to play on in Vegas. Why are you going to Sacramento for 3 years?
I don't understand why they
no
just
sense.
don't play in the Coliseum for 3 more years.
Oh, because Oakland doesn't want them out. Oakland doesn't want them there.
I understand that, Josh, but I still think that's a better move than playing in a minor league game, a minor league stadium in Sacramento.
I agree.
You find a short term, you do it a year by year deal or whatever.
And the Coliseum's going to be empty, so Oakland will take your money to use the Coliseum.
Yeah, you do a year by year thing. You give them money.
No, I agree. I don't understand.
It's a weird situation.
Yeah, but no, I'm
no
disappointed.
Las Vegas is not sprinting to help them, and it seems like they're not excited about this venture either.
Right.
So it's an awkward place to be.
I think of when I think of the Coliseum, I know there's lots of like huge football memories there.
Okay.
But I think about the baseball and the great athletic teams that played there in the 90s.
Sure, you got the Bash brothers, you got Ricky Henderson. Sure, those guys. Yeah,
and wasn't the Coliseum where we had the earthquake, or was that in San Francisco?
That was in San Francisco.
But the A's were in that game, right?
It was against the A's, yeah.
All right, yeah. I think of the Bash brothers. I think of Canseco, Henderson. So many memories of that stadium. I wish I went out there.
Yeah. Well, I think you still might get your chance, to be honest.
You think they're going to renegotiate for next year?
I can't envision
don't buy that. You don't buy
3
this?
years in a minor league stadium. I can't even envision that. And what a weird space to be an Oakland A's fan, right? What do you do with that?
Is the Coliseum in that? I mean, I guess the Coliseum, we always hear it's bad, and the toilets flood into the dugout,
like
and
sewage, yeah.
But is it so bad that they have to go to a minor league stadium?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the minor league stadium will be an improvement, right?
I would think not. The locker rooms aren't going to be good. I mean, I guess there'll be lack of sewage. I mean, the article here says that the Coliseum is falling apart. The sewage backs up regularly into the locker rooms. Chunks of concrete fall off the building at times.
Okay, that's not good.
So I guess if no one wants to invest money in making it safe, you're going to go to the minor league park, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, they were talking in the broadcast, Kevin Brown and Jim Palmer, about how many times it gets over 100 degrees in Sacramento. It's just so hot.
Yeah.
And that obviously there's no roof or anything.
Right.
So.
And I guess they couldn't. I guess that fancy football stadium in Vegas, they couldn't make it work for baseball for a couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to imagine that this is what it's come to, but yeah, you missed your chance.
Yep. Missed it. That's fine. Maybe I'll go to Sacramento.
Yeah, there you go. That could be an experience.
Yeah. Go see the River Cats.
Yeah. You could do a whole weekend. See the Athletics one day and the River Cats the next day. Because the River Cats are still playing there. So
yeah. What happens if the River Cats outdraw the Athletics?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there's going to be pushed by the fan base to make that happen.
It can hold. How many people you think that stadium holds?
The River Cats?
Yeah. Sutter Health Park.
9,000.
14.
Okay.
14,000.
Okay.
Now, what they're going to do is they're going to sell, hey, Aaron Judge is coming to town. Gunnar Henderson's coming to town. It's going to be the same way
and some knucklehead like you would go for the novelty of it, right?
People will go for the novelty. It'll be packed.
It's only going to be there for 3 years.
And people are going to say, look at the huge crowds the Athletics are drawing. But without saying that it's 14,000. No, they're going to look.
Everyone's going to say it's an embarrassment every game. Everyone's going to say this is an embarrassment every game.
I mean, what's the Athletics average attendance now? Is it less than?
I would imagine it's like 7 or 8. And that's tickets sold.
Was it last year, like before they announced moving?
Oh, I don't know what it was.
Because I don't know. 9,000 is their average.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how I'd feel as a fan if the Orioles said, "Hey, we're moving to Nashville."
Yeah. Like what as a fan, what do you do? Do you continue to go to games?
Would I celebrate that last year? Or would I just be like, you're dead to me?
Yeah. You gotta start rooting for the Nationals. I'll go buy a Walgreens hat. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I might be done with baseball for a little bit.
Yeah. But thankfully, we got a Baltimore owner.
Yep. Never have to worry about that.
You got one of the best teams in baseball. I think the second or third best record in baseball.
Yep.
Leading the AL East.
Fort McHenry's still standing, so the Orioles are still in Baltimore.
Yeah. Thank you, John, for selling the team.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. We can get out of here. I wanted to touch, the only other thing I want to touch on briefly is I feel like a little bit like I've turned to the dark side here. Just a little bit. Personal news here. I'm having my son Silas on Saturday. He goes out for travel ball tryouts. So
you're travel ball.
We're gonna give it a shot.
All right.
Just gonna give it a shot.
But you don't want it.
I'm curious to see
how it works at that age.
Yeah. First of all, if he makes a team, I think it might be unlikely he makes a team. Only 50-50 shot here he makes a team.
Yeah.
But my reasoning is, I think it'd be really good for him to have a coach that's not me.
Right.
To hear other voices, and they got like 5 coaches.
No, I agree with that.
B, like he literally, I mean, 7, so it's 7U, it's silly, but he literally can't get enough baseball. Like we play wiffle ball every single day, and I'm awesome. Kind of tired of it.
That's awesome.
And so he like keeps to play every day, and so if there's an opportunity for him to play, he wants to play. So, and I'm curious to see how it works, to be honest, how this whole thing works out, especially at the 7U age. So he's gonna go try out.
I'm curious about that also. Have you thought about? Are you looking forward to coaching again next season with Silas?
I would prefer not to.
You don't want to do it anymore. See, I love coaching to the point that I have done a little bit of research about coaching other kids, like
really?
Not my son.
Yeah.
Like I looked at some of the local high schools have openings for secondary coaches, like an infield coach, and I'm like, I could coach some infield, high school infield.
Oh, I'm sure that'd be a great way too. I mean, when I was coaching basketball, one of the best things I did was an assistant coach,
right?
For a really good coach, and then you can learn a bunch about coaching.
Yeah, so there's a private school down here looking for an infield coach. I was thinking of applying for.
Yeah,
and another public school that's looking for just an assistant coach, and I'm like, I could do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know. I think you definitely could do that, and that might be a good way to also learn more about baseball and coaching.
And I'm in Florida, so one of these kids is making it to the majors at some point. Got to grab them early.
Yeah.
Call up Michael Elias and say, hey, call this guy. Yeah. Long-term plan.
Also, if Silas makes the Aces, they're called the Aces, kind of the little elite team in this area.
Yeah.
You get reserved spots in the
for parking?
Yeah, for parking at the. You got reserved spots for Aces. Yeah.
All right, that's worth doing it also.
Yeah, it's also why I hate the Aces. So I'll be part of the thing I hate because of that stupid stuff. So yeah, I'll let you know how that goes on Saturday when he has.
Sounds good.
It's supposed to be 98 degrees here on Saturday, so we'll see how that goes too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Ready to get out of here?
Let's get out of here. Yep.
All right. You guys know what to do in terms of, we haven't got a new review in a while, or maybe we have. I don't know. I haven't checked. But go ahead and leave us a review so we can see that for next week's show. Leave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Tell your friends about the show. Share it with all of your fellow Oriole fans. And if you don't have enough Orioles gear, go to birdlandsports.com and get yourselves a few Orioles t-shirts as well.
And here's a new review that came in on June 24th. I don't believe we've read this one yet. Just a chill listen as watching. A Phillies fan that heard about this podcast on TMOS, and I figured as the summer and playoff race heats up, I'd learn some about a potential postseason opponent. Good job, guys. Love the baseball talk and general banter. Hey, so he came from the Mike O'Mara show.
Yeah.
And you know what?
I'll
tell you what. I have the last review I checked out on the Mike O'Mara show was a person who posted saying they learned about the Mike O'Mara show from Section 336. And now listen over there. So I like that it's going in both directions.
Yeah. Love that. All right. You can follow us on all your social media platforms. Follow the show. You can follow me on X at Section336, and you follow Josh
at Josh Soroka.
Thanks for listening, boys and girls. And as always,